With Season 4 of Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone being implemented into the game, you guys should update your settings. If you want to move with the most precise aim, be able to eliminate your opponents faster with perfect precision, and move around the map fluidly, you've come to the right video here. My name is Hero, and I've made numerous plays, get amazing DNA bombs with every single gun in the game, and I've come here to tell you guys about my updated / new best settings for Modern Warfare 3 Season 4 and Warzone Season 4. So if you want to be able to improve at the game, raise your KD, get called a hacker by squeakers, old men, the ladies on this game, then you've come to the right channel like I said before. In fact, I've been called all these things and a loser ever since I was a 16-year-old back on the OG MW3. So without further ado, let me go ahead and give you guys my updated settings. So what's up guys, it's here by Nino Orquaji, and welcome to my new best settings in Modern Warfare 3 after the Season 4 update. People are always asking, what are my best settings, or if I've updated my settings in any way. So that's what this video is for, so you guys can learn why I choose the settings that I choose, or to see if I've changed anything at all. And what I want you to take away from this video is that obviously you can copy my settings if you want, or you can obviously adjust some things to your liking, because what matters is that the game feels good for you, and I'm just an example of what the game feels good for me. So if you guys are excited to see the best settings here possible, so you guys can raise your KD, have fun on the game, not sweat too hard, but sweat good enough so you can enjoy yourself here, make sure you guys drop a like in the video, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications. If you're new to the channel, I upload high kill nuke gameplays every single day, filled with funny moments and really dope edits that you guys can enjoy. And my goal for this YouTube channel is just to give you guys the best entertainment possible, so stick around and subscribe if you're into that. And of course, comment your KD in the comment section below, just out of curiosity to see if these settings help you improve, if you happen to, come across this video again and see your comment in the comment section below, and then you can kind of reflect on your progression. Improvement is always nice. But that's enough of my yapping. Let's go ahead and start with my best settings here, starting with my controller settings. So when it comes to my button layout, make sure you flip L1 and L2 and R1 and R2. That's how I play the game. When it comes to my button layout, I play on bumper jumper tactical flipped. Some people like playing on stick and move flipped, which is also a really good one, but I use bumper jumper tactical flipped. And the reason for this is because I can jump with L2, I can aim in with L1, shoot with R1, which is a lot more snappy for my PS4 controller, and I can also slide with my R3. And what this controller layout allows me to do is jump shot and slide and move a lot more fluidly within the game. Modern Warfare 3 is very much so based upon movement, and by using this controller layout, it really emphasizes the movement for you. I've been playing this way since back in Black Ops 3, back in 2015, 2016, so I've been playing on this controller layout for almost a decade, and it's definitely helped me become a better player. It might take you some adjusting, but trust me, the adjustments are worth it. And if anybody's wondering, I just play on my regular PS4 controller when it comes to PC, and I play on my DualSense Edge PS5 controller when I play on PS5. And if you're wondering what I have here, this is the Control Freak, which you can go to controlfreak.com and use code HERO for a nice little discount. They're always really coming in clutch with a better feeling control stick. Not necessary though. Moving onwards, when it comes to these controller vibration, I just have it off. You can have it on if you want, but I just feel like having it on kind of hurts your recoil in a sense, or it just feels weird, so I just have it off. But I used to play with vibration on back in the day. It's just really a matter of preference nowadays. And when it comes to dead zone inputs, I just have mine on left stick 5 and right stick 5. And the way you adjust this is that if you test stick dead zone on, if the percentages are moving, then that means your dead zone needs to be adjusted from, like, if you have it at 0, you should put it up to like a certain amount of number. That'll make it so that it stays at 0% on the left stick and the right stick. And the reason why I have my triggers here at 5 and 50 is because my right trigger, I actually use that to throw grenades because I'm playing on bumper jumper tactical flipped, and I don't want to be too snappy with that. But if you shoot with the right trigger, then you should have this at like 0 or whatever the case is. It'll make your shooting a lot faster. When it comes to the aiming, I have horizontal and vertical stick sensitivity both at 8 and 8. Obviously, if you want to be a little bit better with accuracy, but you're not going to have the ability to turn on people, you can choose a lower sensitivity. And the opposite is true. If you go on a high sensitivity, you have the ability to turn on people very nastily, but you won't have the best accuracy potentially at far ranges. So I have it right in the middle so that I have enough speed to turn on people if I need to, and I can accurately control my crosshairs whenever necessary. So really up to you. And if you're wondering about these sensitivities, it's just 1.20. When it comes to my ADS sensitivity multiplier, you just have that at 1. Sensitivity multiplier here is also at 1 here. Vertical aim max is standard. Tack stance, multiplier 1, aim response curve type. I play on dynamic. Some people like playing on linear, and some people like standard. I'd say dynamic gives you the most stickiest amount of aim assist, but if you're feeling kind of indifferent about dynamic, then go ahead and try linear. Maybe it'll make you feel a lot better. I played on both of these, but dynamic always feels better to me, or you can just stick to standard. And I wouldn't mess with the aim response curve slope scale, because that could mess with your aim assist in some weird ways, so just leave it at 1. When it comes to ADS sense multiplier focus 1, ADS sensitivity transition timing instant, custom sensitivity per zoom, I have it on, and for the low zoom and 2x/3x zooms, I have it at 0.90, so that I'm able to be a little bit more accurate when I'm using those zooms. And for the 4x through the high zooms, I have it on 1.20 because those zoom in really closely, and they're kind of bulky feeling. So I try to make the acceleration a lot faster so that I can obviously track my opponents if they're, being a little bit quick. Target aim assist is on. If you're on controller, you should have this on. Just you have, aimbot basically, like the PC players like to call it. But this will just help you aim a lot better on controller. Aim assist type, I recommend default or black ops. Do not use precision or focusing because you will lose aim assist like in certain situations when you're using these two. But when you're using default and black ops, you won't lose any sort of aim assist. And there's very little difference between default and black ops. It's kind of hard to determine. There's been videos made on these two, but either one works, and if one feels better than the other to you, then use that one. Third person ADS correction type, assist. Motion sensor behavior off, and I don't use motion sensor in general, so that's going to be off. Automatic sprint off. A lot of people ask, why don't I have automatic sprint on? You're just not going to be in full control of your character. It's a lot easier to just keep it off and, be able to stop when you need to stop. Like when a camper's around the corner, you can quickly turn on them. Auto move forward is the same story. I have it off for the same reasons as automatic sprint. Tactical sprint behavior double tap, ground mantle on, airborne mantle off, and ground mantle hang off. Slide/dive behavior. This depends on the mode that I'm playing. If I'm playing Warzone, then I have it on tap to slide because I still need to dive off of certain roofs, like the roofs on Vondel, so that I can dive and then also parachute to get maximum distance. If I'm playing multiplayer, then I use slide only because that's all I need to worry about. The dive is pretty useless in multiplayer. So sliding only in multiplayer is the way to go. Tap to slide is used for Warzone. Plunging underwater trigger, parachute automatic behavior off, door bash on, ledge climb behavior mantle only. And then all of this is kind of personal preference. I think this is all default. If you want to, remove tack stance, you could, but you need some challenges with tack stance, so I just keep it on. Interact/reload behavior. This also depends on the mode that I'm playing. So if I'm playing Warzone, prioritize interact is key. Okay, so when it comes to multiplayer, tap to reload is what you should, because it's the most easiest one to use. You won't be messing up too much. But when it comes to Warzone, prioritize interact is almost necessary, because instead of holding square or whatever button you use to grab loot, you have to hold. But with prioritize interact, you can just tap square and you'll loot fast, you open doors quicker. And in Warzone, sometimes the game can be very fast-paced, especially on Rebirth. So you want to be able to loot as fast as possible, get your guns, and all of that. So prioritize interact for Warzone, tap to reload for multiplayer. Armor plate behavior, apply all. ADS stick swap off, backpack control, directional buttons. And everything else here is personal preference. The Kimball behavior, I have it on independent, but if you wanted to, you could do paired. I just like being in full control of the way that I shoot. And then everything else here is your personal preference. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to our graphic settings in PC, terms. But then after showing PC graphic settings, I will hop on my PS5 and show you guys console graphic settings as well. So when it comes to my PC here, I use display mode full screen borderless just because I work on this computer and I don't have a bunch of monitors or a double PC build. And I need to record and tab out and everything. But if you don't do content creation anyway and you play on PC, just do full screen exclusive. You're gonna get the best benefit for your buck here. I have a 3080 Ti, and here are the rest of my specs of my PC on screen if you guys are curious. 144 Hz refresh monitor, 1440p, so I can get the best frames and some of the best resolution, so I can be more competitive in COD. When it comes to NVIDIA reflex low latency, this should be on. On plus boost can help certain PCs, and off can help as well, but in 99% of scenarios that I've seen, on is the best way to go about it. Obviously, you could try these other two and see if your frames are better or worse or whatever the case is, but just leaving it on is probably the best way to go for you. Eco mode preset, efficiency. All of this is just personal preference. There's my frame limits in case you guys want to know that. And everything else here is optional. So now moving on to the quality graphics settings here. Render resolution is at 90 for me. I don't have it at 100 because, like I said, I record and stream off of one PC, so I do want to improve my frames more than my resolution, because I already play on 1440p, so lowering that resolution a little bit to get more frames is nice. If you play on 1080p, then I would say you want to have this at 100 because 1080p is already kind of hard to see people. Whereas I'm on the hybrid system. But if you really need those frames, then you can lower it down to like 95, 90, maybe even 85. But I wouldn't go any lower than that on a 1080p, monitor or whatever. Upscaling / sharpening, I have it on Fidelity FX Cast, and I have this on 90. You can have it on whatever number you want. Preferably like anywhere from 80 to 100, so the game pops out more and you can see your opponents a bit better. VRAM scale target, 80 or 90 is what you want to have this on. I have it on 80. And if you have problems on 90, like your PC is like bugging out or whatever, make sure it's on 80 then at that point. And vice versa, depending on your PC. Variable rate shading off, NVIDIA DLSS frame generation off, texture resolution normal, and texture filter anisotropic normal. If I wanted more frames, I could put these on low or very low, just to get more frames. But I want the game to look nice. I want to be able to pick out the parts, make the game look good when I upload it up to YouTube. But if you really want more frames, just put these to low, because then you're kind of saving memory there on your PC, and you can get more frames. Depth of field is going to be off, because when you put it on, there's a little bit of blurriness effect in the background, and you don't want that blurriness. Detail quality level low, particle resolution normal, bullet impacts on, persistent effects on, shader quality low, on-demand texture streaming off, local texture quality low, shadow quality very low, screen space shadows off, ambient occlusion off, SSR off, static reflection quality low, tessellation off, volumetric quality low, deferred physics quality off, weather grid volume is low, and water quality wave wetness. And all these settings are just so that we can get the most frames out of our PC as much as possible while gaming. And the game looks a certain way to kind of pick out opponents a little bit easier. When it comes to view here, field of view is going to be at 120. I want to see as much of the environment as possible, and I can pick out opponents a lot more easily if I can see more of the environment. So that's why I have it at 120, and have ADS field of view at independent. A lot of YouTubers / content creators play unaffected, and they'll tell you to play unaffected because it keeps that 120 FOV even when you ADS. However, when you ADS with independent on, your FOV turns to 80 when you're ADSing. And I prefer this. I want an 80 FOV, a lower FOV, when I'm ADSing, because when you ADS, you're trying to focus in on something. And when you're on a lower FOV, whatever you're focusing in on will appear bigger. So if you see an opponent, they'll appear bigger, and thus you'll be able to be more accurate while you're trying to shoot at them. And you'll be able to pick them out a little bit easier as well. So I argue for independent. If I was unaffected, then everything would look as small as possible when I'm focusing in on something. And like even on an independent, I still have that 120 FOV whenever I'm not ADSing, which is like 90% of the time. So I think the benefits are amazing with independent, but if you want to choose affected, go for it. I'm all about that independent though. Weapon field of view wide. This makes the gun as small as possible on your screen so that you can see as much of the environment as possible. So that's important for wide. Third person field of view, 90 for the same reason, and vehicle field of view wide for the same reason that weapon field of view. World motion blur and weapon motion blur, you gotta have these off, because if you have blur on, you're moving around like a freaking maniac, the environment's gonna appear a little bit blurry, and if somebody's like appearing around the corner, they'll just look like a blob to you, and thus you won't be able to distinguish them from the rest of the blurriness. So you should just have this both off. Film grain, 0. You don't want any sort of grain there. First person and third person camera movement, you need to have these at least 50%. If you have it at 100 on both, the game is going to feel very shaky. You're going to have unnecessary recoil or shakiness on your screen, and that's just not needed. And then all of this is personal preference. Inverted flashbang, do you want the light or the darkness? That's kind of up to you. But with all that being said, I'm going to hop on my console graphics settings real quick, and then we'll move on to audio after that. So now we're on my PS5, as you guys can see from the menu pop up here, and let's go through these graphics settings on console. When it comes to world motion blur and weapon motion blur, that's going to be off, just like I said on my PC settings. Film grain 0, depth of field off, just because you don't want the blurriness. Fidelity FX cast on, and Fidelity FX cast strength, 100 or 90 or 80, somewhere around there is really nice. Makes the game a little bit more clearer, and thus you can kind of see your enemies a little bit better. Eco mode preset, I just have it on off, but of course you can have it on efficiency or low consumption. It's 120 Hz refresh rate. If you're on PS5 / Xbox Series X / S, you should have this on, because being on 120 Hz at 120 frames is a lot better than being on 60 frames. This will allow you to play against PC players a lot better, and it's a really great advantage. Just make sure you have the monitor for it. If you're on PS4 or the previous Xbox consoles, you won't have this option. When it comes to field of view, I like it at max 120, and ADS field of view at independent, and weapon field of view of wide. I give my reasoning for this within the PC section if you guys are curious. Third person field of view is at 90, and vehicle field of view is at wide, just to see the map as much as possible, or the game. First person and third person camera movement, both at 50%. If you had it 100% or 75%, you're gonna feel a lot more recoil, especially when things are like shaky on the game or whatever. You don't want that shakiness. You want the least amount of shakiness so you can stay precise. Inverted flashbang, that's up to you if you want to be blinded by the light or by the darkness. Third person ADS transition, first person ADS, and then the rest of this is personal preference. So let me go ahead and hop back on my PC and show you guys the rest of the settings that you guys gotta use. Now here we are back on my PC to show you guys my audio settings for console and PC. So for the audio mix, I like doing PC speaker. Ever since I switched to this while playing on my PC, I've been able to hear footsteps very, very well. But if you're on console, I recommend home theater or even headphones-based boost. There's not really much difference between home theater and headphones-based boost, so it's kind of up to you to choose which one. But since I'm on PC, I use a PC speaker. And audio is super important in this game to kind of distinguish where your opponents are at. And then when it comes to the volume settings here, gameplay music volume should be low because you don't want to hear music while you're playing. Even though the tracks could be fire, you want to focus in on the gameplay, obviously. Dialogue volume at 48, so I can hear callouts. Callouts are pretty important, like if they're captain a flag, a kill streak's coming in, or whatever the case is, so that's important. Effects volume should be at 100. This is the most important one because this allows you to distinguish footsteps, hear when somebody's reloading, when somebody's like plating up, hear the clothes that they have. You can hear a lot of things with this game, so having it at 100 is almost necessary. Cinematic music volume 10 and war tracks volume, you can put this to 0 if you don't want to hear people's freaking songs in their car or whatever on Warzone. Voice chat volume 60 just so I can hear people talk trash. I don't have it at 100 because people be having some annoying freaking mics. And then everything else here is personal preference. Subtitles. You should have, if I wasn't a content creator, I actually would have subtitles on. And the reason being is that if you have subtitles on in multiplayer or Warzone for whatever reason, you could read the callouts somebody is making instead of hearing them, because sometimes there's a lot of action that goes on in the game, like especially on shipment. So some kill streak callouts or some objective callouts get delayed a little bit. And if you're able to read them, because they're on the text first before they're said in audio cue, you can read a lot faster than you can hear something. So it's just for that reason. For the reason I don't have it on is because I'm a content creator and the game would look kind of ugly with all the text on screen and whatever. But I would recommend having subtitles on personally. And then everything else here is personal preference. Reduce tinnitus sound, I just have it on. And yeah, so with that being said, let's move on to our last settings, which is interface. When it comes to interface settings, we already talked about subtitles here. When it comes to color customization, you can obviously choose whatever colors, speak out to you the most. I just kind of keep everything default personally. Minimap shape, square. Square is way better than round. If you're playing on round, you have less surface area, and you're not gonna be able to see as many of the opponents. The square is a lot bigger than the circle and covers more area. So make sure you're playing on square. You're actually hurting yourself being on circle. I don't know why they have this as a setting. They should just make it square permanently. Minimap rotation is going to be on, horizontal compass on in case you have a counter UAV up or you just can't see your minimap for some reason. On the compass, you'll be able to see gunshots, so pay attention to that at times. Crosshairs, we're going to be on static instead of off or on, so that you don't get too much dizziness and there's a little bit more of a locked-inness, I guess you could say. And then when it comes to center dot, it's going to be on, crosshair dot on, and the center dot is going to be on largest, so you can kind of be a little bit more accurate with how you play the game. And then all this is personal preference. Squad health and stamina, I only have health bar only because I don't think you need to see your squad stamina personally. Telemetry, I just have FPS, server latency, and packet loss on. FPS, I can see my frames, see if I'm doing okay in terms of how the game feels. And then also server latency and packet loss to see if I'm lagging or the server's laggy or whatever the case is. And then everything else here should be personal preference. And there you guys go. Those are my updated settings for Season 4 here. Let me know if these settings help you in any way, or if you guys kind of learned something new, or if you guys were just curious about my settings. I appreciate you guys for the love and support that you guys give me every single day. Like I said, I've only been sleeping 4 to 5 hours these last 3 or 4 days. You guys mean the world to me, so thank you for coming to the end of this video. Without you, I would be nothing, as I always say. But I'm freaking tired. I gotta upload one more video later tonight, so I'm gonna edit this real fast, and I'll hopefully see you later tonight for a FJX Horus video. And don't forget to watch my previous videos this week, which is a ranked play video, some of the new guns and conversion kits, and yeah, stay awesome.